Okay, today I'm going to show you how a tsunami works. So I did tsunami second because they are directly related to earthquakes. Alright, so as we talked about yesterday, the most powerful earthquakes happen because of convergence. Okay, so a tsunami happens because of underwater earthquakes, typically because of this kind of converging continental plates or converging plates. Okay, so if you take one plate that's subducting under another plate, okay, so if this is happening underwater, if this plate is pushing towards this plate, it's putting a lot of pressure and potential elastic energy on this landmass, and when that landmass buckles underneath the earth in the hypocenter or in the upper mantle, in the hypocenter of the focus, the epicenter of the earthquake is going to be on the sea floor. And if an earthquake like this happens, the amount of energy is going to be transferred through the water, and the water is going to be its median. Okay, so this energy from an earthquake like this is going to travel in all directions, but it's going to have huge effects on the ocean above it. Okay, so when all this energy is rapidly transported through water because of this underground earthquake, so that this landmass buckled, normal earthquake except it's underwater, that energy goes shooting up towards the surface. Okay, and at first, where the actual earthquake took place in the ocean, you're really not going to notice. Okay, the wavelengths are actually going to be quite large. But then as the energy gets closer to shore, the wave actually slows down. So it was going very fast before. The wave actually slows down, and the amplitude of the wave itself becomes really, really, really big. So tsunamis are caused by typically underwater earthquakes, or some kind of really large seismic movement. Okay, and earthquakes can have devastating effects on land. So you can see why the earthquake wouldn't directly affect us, because earthquakes really only have devastating effect on land when it comes to the actual breaking of the continent. But that energy is transferred to the actual ocean above it, and that energy is not destroyed. It's never created or destroyed, so that energy travels in every direction it can. And when it's in the form of water, or when it's traveling through water, it has devastating effects on the land itself. So remember, when it's in the ocean, deep in the ocean, the wavelengths are quite long. But as it gets closer to shore, that energy gets more concentrated. Okay, the frequency gets higher and the amplitude gets enormous. Okay, so the actual wave height is very huge, and this is why it devastates cities and inundates coastal communities. This happens relatively frequently. Some of the worst in history were the 2004 tsunami in Indonesia that was caused by an underwater earthquake, and recently there was one in Fukushima, Japan, which was on the northeast coast of Japan. It was an earthquake in the water. That was a 9.0 magnitude earthquake that the tsunami flooded the city and also destroyed nuclear power plants and left radiation in the city. Okay, guys, this is a tsunami. It's different than a tidal wave. So a tidal wave is just a very, very large wave that's caused by gravity. Okay, the same ways that normal waves are caused. The tsunami is caused by an underwater earthquake, and in particular, one of these convergence earthquakes that happens at a converging plate boundaries, where that elastic potential energy is built up by a subducting plate, putting a lot of tension on one of the plates and then buckling at the epicenter. I'm sorry, the hypocenter, releasing that energy at the epicenter, and then transferring that energy through the ocean as a medium, and then inundating coastal communities. Okay, these are tsunamis, guys. Thanks.